Thank you. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you this morning. And it's Tuesday morning here in Colorado, and it's super early for me. I never do workshop this early. It's 10 o'clock, and I usually just get into my zone at this time. So let's see how it goes. I'm actually excited to see for what comes in when I'm not super prepared. And it's not because I'm not prepared, but it's just I'm not super warmed up. It's early. So I'm going to be drinking my tea, drink whatever you have handy. I love Earl Grey. It's like my little secret drug. I love a good Earl Grey tea. So let's begin. Welcome to our workshop today. I led this workshop a couple of weeks ago. If you were here live, welcome back. And I promise you it'll be all different, because since the last time I led it, new things have shown up and a new way of talking about intuition, synchronicity, and why it's so important right now has shown up. So if you are here for the first time, if I haven't met you yet, my name is Kowalska. You probably have seen me on a workshop, a summit, some other ways where I love to share wisdom and share my gifts. And I'm really excited to have you here in the space. And if you're here live, I'm super excited about that. And I'm really, really grateful, because I know what it takes to commit to something, carve out time, and show up. And that's exactly what this time we are in right now is about. So let me just remind you, we are going through a beautiful transformation for humanity, right? You've heard this over and over again. And I don't know about you, but I'm very impatient sometimes. And sometimes I just want to be there. I just want to be there, right? I feel like I'm driving in a car and I'm sitting on the back. Somebody else is driving the car, like, universe, source, timelines, dimensions. And I'm sitting on the back of a car and I'm an active passenger who keeps saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Can I please just be there? Can my life please just look like I'm there? Can you relate? Just raise your hand if you're on camera, right? Can we just be there already? And then I tune in and I hear, oh, no. This is a long road trip. So imagine I am packing for a trip that's probably from here to an hour away. I live about 30 minutes from the mountains. In an hour, I'm deep in the beautiful Rocky Mountains. And I packed for the trip, right? Because that's what we think we were going to be, on this little thing that's just shift, and there we are. And the universe, source, God, I'm going to use word God. If it doesn't lay right with you, replace it with source, universe, the divine. It's all the same to me. I use word God. I've done a ton of healing around, I was born, raised Catholic, and I've done a ton of healing around having a different understanding of what God is. So here I am tuning in, and God says, which really is just my own voice at a different dimension, says, oh, no. This is not the kind of trip we are on. This trip is going to require many sandwich stops. It's going to require some tents, some sleeping bags, and many, many different stops along the way, shifts and pivots, because we don't know what's going to happen. So that's the kind of trip we are on as humanity. That's the kind of journey we are on. And impatience doesn't really help us, but here we are. So I created this workshop because what I realized is that there are some things that we are still not really leaning into for the long journey we are on, which is intuition and synchronicity. So if you've been in my world, I speak about purpose, prosperity, and leadership a lot. Purpose and prosperity a lot more often. I'm adding leadership mostly because it's part of my purpose. It's part of my purpose, and people who I attract have leadership as part of their purpose, usually in their hands. If you've had your hand analysis done, And leadership, the way that we look at it these days, isn't necessarily somebody looking from the top of a mountain and saying, hey, follow me this way. Let's see, I'll show you where to go. The way that we talk about leadership these days, and moving forward for the new earth, is our own personal leadership. How are we directing our journey? How are we choosing what it is that works for us? And how are we choosing the path we're going to take? There is no longer some kind of a formula that our parents got, 50, 75 years ago, do this, and that, and this is what you'll get. And our generation and a generation before us grew up on that. If you do X, Y, Z, you'll be fine. But that's not where we are anymore. And that's not where we are as humanity. And that's not where we're going, which is why leadership, I added to my conversation very deliberately, and intentionally, because that's where we get to be. And intuition and synchronicity are beautiful tools for that to be part of where we're going. So are you in? Are you in for the journey? Hi. So good to see some awesome familiar faces. Really, really great to see you. Thank you for being here, especially if you're here live. Again, I really appreciate you. I engage with your faces and I see if what I'm sharing with you resonates or not. And that's how I direct my conversation. So there is no formula except we all have a blueprint. There is no strategy. I don't know why I'm having such a difficulty saying this word lately, but apparently strategy is going out of my language because I'm not able to say it any longer. I keep tripping over it. There is no strategy, right? What there is who we are and who we choose to be. Who we are and who we choose to be. I was speaking with somebody the other day who has done this work in many different dimensions, many different ways for over 30 years. And he said it most beautifully I've ever heard it. So I'm going to pretty much quote it. Everything is the same energy. Everything is the same energy. And the space through which it comes shapes what it looks like. Everything is the same energy, and a space through which it comes determines what it looks like. And I've been saying it in my own way for a while, right? Like you are the shape through which the energy comes through, and who you are determines how this energy comes out on the other side and reflects to you your physical experience. Period. There is nothing else. I could end the workshop right here. You are the shape that determines the energy that then comes through you in a very unique way, and who you are in the moment when the energy comes through you determines what results you are seeing out in the world, which is really your physical experience is a hologram reflection of who you are, always. Doesn't it make it so simple? Doesn't it just make it like, yeah, that's all it is? Great. What if that's the only way I got to live from now on and just tried it? Just gave it a try, right? Which is where the conversation about intuition and synchronicity comes in. Because, I mean, it's not like intuition is a new topic to you, right? And neither is synchronicity. Yet I heard it said to me a while ago, all there is intuition and synchronicity. And I'm like, yes, that's all there is. So if I know who I am, if I allow myself to truly know who I am, and that constantly evolves to the next level, but there is a part in me, a center, a part of me, in me, that's a center of who I am, that's connected to something other than me, right? Which is my higher self. And that self always knows who I am. And I can start believing and trusting that my intuition tells me what I need to know. And then I decode what the intuition versus fear, because that's a big question too, right? Is it intuition? Is it fear? Then I can start moving in my world, in my life, in a whole new way. Not relying on the systems that have been in my life up until now. And that's physical systems or the systems that you yourself have put in place, just like I myself have put in place. You and I have put in some systems in place for our life to look a certain way. We have put in some people in places that act a certain way so we can have a certain experience. And the more that we are willing to see that and trust who we are, the more we are able to see through it and then start creating what it is that we really are here for in the design of the new earth. Isn't that exciting? So I love when people talk about, and believe me, like I said, I am in the same boat with you. Are we there yet? How will I know? Are we there yet? Could the struggle and suffering and questioning be over? Can we just be in the new earth and everything is awesome? And this morning I was taking a walk with my dog, which we do every morning. Like if you have a dog, you probably know this. It's like a built-in guilt system to do your exercise and walk out into the fresh air. That's what my dog does. Like I have to, my partner and I do it every single day, at least twice a day. We take our dog for a walk, and it's like a built-in system to make sure that I get my walk in. I was walking with my dog and I was having certain feelings and sensations. There are, full moon is this week. There is eclipse coming up. There is like a huge download of photons for planet Earth. If you follow any of that, if you've been extra wobbly last weekend, that's why, because there was just a lot of activity, energetic activity that's been happening, and eclipses are just, the season of eclipses is coming up. So if you're feeling extra wobbly, and I was feeling extra wobbly on the inside. I was feeling extra wobbly with my feelings, and I was questioning everything in a moment. And then I look at my dog, and there he is with his little wiggly butt and, sniffing and eating his goose poop, which we're really trying to stop him from. It's not working really well. And I'm like, in this dog's world, there is nothing else other than his intuition, which whatever that looks like for a dog, he knows what he wants in the moment and he follows it. Right. And he just keeps moving forward with whatever the life presents him in a moment. And I'm like, what if I chose that right now? And all of a sudden I said, I could choose this right this moment. And I chose it, and everything shifted. Everything shifted for me inside of me. And all of a sudden I was having a different experience on the outside world. Takes a little longer when we're talking about mass, right? Like money in a bank account, the house I live in, the car I drive. Takes a little longer, but that's only because up until now, we have created a world that looked a certain way. And we gave into the belief that everything that's solid is just so. That every single thing that has rules and policies and steps, it's just how it is. And now we are going through this. Remember, long journey, not one sandwich trip. I think I'm going to adopt it in something. I usually say to people, I'm like, this is not a one sandwich road trip, right? Like, how many sandwiches? I don't know where I got it from. I love road trips, but I think I'm going to start using it. This is not a one sandwich road trip. This is a road trip that's going to require some sleeping arrangements along the way, maybe long-term lodging along the way. So along the way, we're going to learn what it looks like when our physical world starts changing what it looks like literally in front of us. And intuition and synchronicity are huge steps of what it's going to take. And of course, it's always in line with the purpose, right? Always in line with the purpose. So a reminder for those of you who have been around me, and a new teaching for those of you who haven't, purpose in my world is not what we do, it's who we are. My purpose is not what I do. My purpose is who I am. And when I am that shape, remember that shape through which the energy comes through, then I am aligned with something that I am here to bring and create in a world that only I can, nobody else can. Right now in the world, the earth, humanity needs it the most. So it's not the thing that I do, although it will have a certain way of being, of expressing itself in the world. It's who I am in the moment, after moment, after moment, after moment. That's aligned with the blueprint that I was born with at the soul level that I've chosen, I was born with. And then when it comes through me, when I am that, it takes on a certain shape and it looks a certain way out in the world. Except up until now, right, we had a certain system in place. I'm born, I go to school, you've heard this many times, right? 401ks are going away, jobs are going away and changing. And it's not to be doom and gloom, it's just what's happening, right? And all of a sudden, money could change, money could go away. In the last workshop, I literally told you, I grew up in a country where money was deflated overnight. Governments can do that overnight. It could happen just like that. And if you put your money in crypto, great, I'm doing that too. And crypto goes up and down. And who knows what's going to happen with that? We have no idea. So the only place that we get to sink into as a human being right now on the planet Earth, moving forward, creating our experience, is the being, the human being that was here born to be a certain way, relying on our intuition and synchronicity along the way. So intuition and synchronicity, the new way that dropped in over the last couple of weeks since the last workshop I did, I know some of you were there. Intuition and synchronicity are feminine ways of expression. Feminine ways of expression. Doesn't mean that men don't have it. It's just the masculine, feminine, right? If it's new to you, we all have, no matter what gender, we all have feminine, masculine energy. We all have the access to it. We all operate from them. And feminine, right, is the intuition and synchronicity is 100% the expression of the feminine. And guess what's happening on the planet Earth right now? And I know I'm bored of this conversation too, the masculine dying away and the feminine coming in, but that's what's going on. And I say I'm bored with it because if you're in this work as much as I am, that's the conversation everybody is having. Yet we're not really truly living it. That's why we're still having this conversation, right? So intuition and synchronicity is a feminine way of being on the planet Earth. It doesn't mean we let go of the masculine, right? We let go of the masculine structures. We let go of the, and when I say masculine, I mean the energy, the expression of the energy of the masculine. This has nothing to do with gender, right? Because I really respect the men that show up to this work. It's the masculine energy. Many women carry way too much masculine energy and way more than many men. So intuition and synchronicity is absolutely the feminine expression of what's coming into the world right now. And that's what we are sinking into right now. That's what we are allowing. And intuition comes with a lot of trust. A lot of trust. One, you really have to trust that you know who you are. You really have to allow yourself to believe that what your blueprint says, and there are many ways to know your blueprint. For me, I use scientific hint analysis. I add human design and gene keys. Those systems served me, but they didn't serve me to tell me something I didn't know. They served me to confirm something I already knew, but I was resisting, which is where we are right now. A lot of people are still resisting. This may be you right now, resisting some ways of being, because when you were growing up, it was dangerous to be who you are. When you were growing up, you were probably even told that doesn't work. Don't be this way. Don't be that way. Or you were in some way given a message that when you show up that way, you will not be loved. You will not be safe, right? In some way, you will not be provided for. And as kids, we need that. And the work that we are doing right now is allowing ourselves to be more of who we are, more of who we were born to be, aligning that with our intuition, because when you sink into who you are, your intuition is right there waiting to tell you the next step, the next step, the next step, the journey you are here on. And we make such a big deal of intuition, right? How do you know what's what? And there is a part of the work that I do in the world right now, which has me work with a lot of people who really are just starting to dip into intuition, just starting to have this conversation. And on the other spectrum, I know many of you, because I see your faces and I know you have done this work for a very, very long time. Intuition isn't a new conversation for you, right? You are now actually stepping into the next level of it. What if you really, truly don't have a plan? You have a vision, not a plan, and you're willing to let go of everything else other than what your intuition guides you to today. And I know a lot of people say they do it, but do they really? Do we really? Because I ask myself that too all the time. Am I truly following my intuition, or is part of me still giving into the old paradigm of being safe, doing what I know worked yesterday, so I'm going to do it again, saying what I know when I said I got a good response, so am I going to say that? Or am I going to be brutally honest with myself, trust my intuition, allow myself to be a channel, take a risk? One of the reasons why we don't trust our intuition, you guys want to know what it is? Yeah? Because when we trust our intuitions, we have to make decisions. When we trust our intuition, we have to make decisions. And those decisions may not be decisions that we have made up until now. Usually there aren't. When you follow your intuition in the new paradigm, you will have to let go of something. And when you let go of that something based on your intuition, there is nobody else to blame. And we live our life up until now, humans, this is not unique to me or you, so don't feel bad. I do it all the time. I look for somebody to blame. So when I make a decision, I look who is influencing this decision, that I can then look around and say, oh, it wasn't my fault, it was their fault. Now I feel better about myself. It's a human nature. That's how we operate. And you may not want to think that way, but we do. We operate that way, especially when it comes to money. right? So prosperity is part of my conversation, especially when it comes to money. We operate that way. My money made me make this decision. You will never say that. You'll just say, I don't have enough money, or I don't have money. I don't know where money is coming from. But essentially what you're saying is my money made this decision for me. And what's underneath it is, if you really trusted your intuition to take certain steps, you would have made a decision. And then if it didn't work out the way you wanted to, which means I'm safe, I can rely on this, I'm taken care of, I can be guaranteed a certain result. If it doesn't work out that way, and along the way you have to step through some challenges, and you have nobody else to look around and say, oh, this person made me, government made me, system made me, mortgage made me, house payment made me, then it's all on us. And humans will do anything to not be in that position. We'll do anything because we've been trained that way. So when it comes to intuition, right, and I'll talk about synchronicity because it plays into it really well. The reason why we most of the time don't follow it is because if we do, we'll have to make a decision. And every single decision has a consequence. Every single decision has a consequence. So how many of you can relate to this? When I started to learn how to manifest, right? So exciting. Parking spots, right? No line in a store, just these little things. I started to play with how to manifest, and things would just happen, right? And then I started to play with, I want to live here. I want to wear this. And all of a sudden things like, I want to have this experience, and it would happen. Not very consequential things like relationships or money goals, not like that yet. I was just playing with small, inconsequential things. But as I was learning to manifest and these things would start happening, the bigger they got, the more I realized, whoa, every single time I manifest something, it comes with something else, a consequence I didn't think through. And I don't like this consequence. I don't like that I said I want to live on Upper West Side and it came with a noisy neighbor or a smelly street or whatever else, right? So how many of you can relate to this? Like, I want 20 clients tomorrow. And then you got 20 clients tomorrow and you're like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. My schedule is full. I have no time for me, right? So we learn to manifest. We want things. We make a decision to move. Like we follow our intuition. We make a decision and then there is a consequence. And we don't like something about it. I want to be in a loving relationship. I want this man to adore me, to cherish me. And then you find this man, but then there is something about him you forgot to be clear about. And you're like, oh, but I didn't ask him to be like 2 feet shorter than me. I wanted a tall man. Never happened to me, but I'm saying, right? The man shows up like a foot, right? And you're like, oh, I forgot to ask that he be taller than me. And a society says that he should be taller than me. What's up with that? So I'm not going to manifest anymore because apparently I really don't know how to do it well. I'm not going to follow my intuition because when I did, I manifested a perfect man, but he was just like way too short. And now I look stupid in society when I go out on the streets. I'm not saying this applies to you. I'm using a very silly example because that's how it works, right? I'm going to make this investment. All right, I'm going to do it. My intuition tells me to do it. 2 days later, my car breaks down. Oh my God, I totally followed my intuition. Now I needed that money to fix my car. I'm never going to ask for money again. Or I'm going to ask for the lottery because lottery comes with no consequences, which by the way is bullshit because when you win a lottery, your life could fall apart if you're not ready at the frequency to receive that money. So I love somebody said to me the other day in a forum, I have a questionnaire and somebody says, I want to win a lottery. This is the reason why they wanted coaching, to win a lottery. Don't ask for lottery. You have no idea what lottery winning comes with. So one of the reasons why we don't follow our intuition is because we have to make decisions. When we follow the intuitions, we're going to have to make decisions. And every single decision comes with a consequence. And you will not like part of consequences. Now, here is the juicy part. In a new world that we are creating, that we are coming into, the new human being, there is no road, there is no path, there is no green light, go here, red, no, this won't work. The only way we'll know how to move forward is to follow our intuition and synchronicity. Synchronicity is when events happen that seemingly, well, look like, wow, coincidences. You guys know synchronicity. I know you do because you're in my world, so you know synchronicity. But synchronicity really is just energy aligning in a certain way that now all of a sudden shows you things that go together in a certain way to confirm certain things, if you choose to see it that way. It's just energy lining up to look a certain way because you are in alignment. And you can use synchronicity to confirm the path you are on or to get the next step. But again, you're going to have to trust and make a decision in a very feminine way, without any evidence, without any strategy. Oh, I said it. Whew, go me. You're going to have to follow the synchronistic sign and trust it, right? And most of us don't want to, because that means we're going to have to decide in this moment, and there is nobody else to blame for the decision we're making. There will be a consequence to pay. And do I want to pay that consequence? Which is why we stay where we are. So when we're talking about manifesting our highest expression, right? Because that's really why we're here. You're here because you wanted to know how to manifest your highest expression right now through intuition and synchronicity. And it's a beautiful concept. It's a feminine concept, right? It's the soft, beautiful way to move through the world. It's a really allowing, peaceful, graceful way to move through the world. But it comes with a price. And that's the price we don't want to pay, which is why we still ask a question. When am I going to get there? When am I going to get there? Right? Because we're not willing to pay the price. So in the chat, share with me what's landing with you right now. What's landing? What are you hearing that is bringing something forward? Whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. What's landing for you? What are you hearing maybe in some new way that gives you access to something new today? When I started to trust my intuition, I was very much in a conversation of not really knowing whose voice it is, not really knowing what am I trusting. And it's when I started to deepen my journey with myself, learning, and there are systems, there are ways to deepen your journey, right? Meditation, journaling, being in nature, you know them. Some people dance. I love to dance. It connects me with part of me. I know some of you like that too. But when I started to deepen with the journey with myself and really getting through the layers of what's not me, because that's the huge part of the journey, right? Pack your sandwiches and pack all the shadow, pack all the patterns, pack all the ways you've always been. And the only way you're going to get there is if you're willing to look, right? Like if you're willing to look, really, really willing to look. And I don't know about you, but I hate looking at the ways that I have created my life, my world, my patterns, and systems around me in a way that didn't serve me up until now. Like sometimes I have a conversation and I say something to somebody, tell me if this is true for you. I say something to somebody and I'll say, you know, this is how you're showing up to me right now. And then literally as I say it, I hear myself say it. I'm like, mirror, mirror on the wall, right? That's exactly who I am. And we don't want to look at that. This is why we still ask, when am I going to get there? But that's the work we are right now in as humanity. So if you want to know the biggest shift to make right now, to align yourself with your highest soul expression, so you can use your intuition and synchronicity to keep moving forward in the most beautiful, feminine expression of who you are for the new earth, you get to face all the things that don't work about you. Right? And I know you came here for a beautiful morning cup of tea. Oh, love my Earl Grey and some honey. But I like to tell you the truth. The only way to get there is to look at all the ways that we have been in our own way, to look at all the ways where we have focused on what doesn't work about us and why I can't make certain decisions, what I am afraid of, what won't work, why I'm afraid to make certain choices. Keeping ourselves safe, keeping ourselves protected, holding on to something that no longer works because it's the old earth paradigm. The new earth paradigm is all about knowing who you are, who you came here to be, sinking deeply into that. And for me, again, it was a journey of being a confirmation When I had my hands analyzed and then confirmed through human design and gene keys and astrology, because I love that to pile it all on, there was just confirmation after confirmation of who I truly am here to be. And then I still get to choose what it looks like. That's a human will. But there is a certain way that I came here to express myself. And from then on, I've been on never ending, believe me, I have many sandwiches packed. I am on never ending journey of constantly discovering what is it that's not aligned. And I am actually getting to a conversation right now where it doesn't even matter how much money I have in a bank account because it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. What it means is, who am I? Am I somebody who believes that if everything went away today, can I recreate it tomorrow? Is this who I am? Is this the vibration that I am operating at? Or am I operating on reliance of everything physical? Right? Or am I truly stepping into my sovereignty? And we love this word, right? Sovereign creator. What does it mean? That means that I am absolutely 100% responsible for everything that is in existence all around me. I am 100% responsible of everything that's in existence all around me. And that means that I can change it, but that means that I'm going to have to really step into who I am, trust my intuition, align with synchronicity, follow that synchronicity, which I've been doing. If a synchronicity shows up, all of a sudden shifts my way of being. I shared 2 weeks ago, I play with numbers. I love playing with numbers. And I communicate with universe and God and source through numbers. License plates especially. So I don't drive a lot, but I used to live in New York and I drove a lot. And I used to always look at license plates. And I used to play with alignment and different ways that it showed up. And I took it, I made it mean that if they showed up a certain way, I would follow the path. So I would step into the car, drive wherever I was going, and then I would ask a question. I would say, if I see these patterns, I would follow that path. All I was doing is saying, I already know intuitively where to go, but my human mind is getting in the way. Show me something outside of me that's really not outside of me. It's all about me projecting out into the world. Because remember, it's all a holographic experience. Nothing really exists. It's just an expression of who we are in the moment, of the energy that we flow through. But then I would see certain numbers, right? Certain patterns. I'd be like, all right, going all for it. That's the path. And sometimes it will work out. Sometimes it doesn't. I had a story about it. I still play that way. I don't drive as much. I still play that way. But I was driving on Saturday and it happened again. I was deep in my thought while driving, which is not that safe, but I do it. I say I'm paying attention to the different things. And sometimes I wake up and like, right, how did I get here? Somehow part of my mind split and knew exactly where to go. And the other part was paying attention to what I'm tuning into. What is it that I'm in a question of right now? What is the next step? What is this twist that I am presented? And then I know, no joke, within 5 minutes or maybe even less, I see a certain patterns of numbers that is my sign. I took it on. This is my sign. And I see a sign after sign after sign, 3 or 4 cars, left and right. I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. This is magical. This is synchronicity. My partner and I were in New Mexico a couple of weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago or so. And randomly, he walks into a gallery. I was on a call. I finished the call. I meet him there. And the conversation is the most beautiful conversation about things that have happened over the last 2 days. And topic after topic, name after name, person after person, location after location, get repeated as in to literally reflect from somebody we just met, the whole journey we were just on. Synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity. And all of a sudden, what shifted for me in that moment is I'm in alignment. I'm in alignment because there is synchronicity happening. I must be in alignment with something right now because universe, energy, source is reflecting to me something in alignment. So now that day, all of a sudden, everything shifted. Just for the day, I woke up the next day and I had the same story. Thank you for sharing in a chat. I'll read it in just a moment. But for that day, all of a sudden, I had a sense of alignment. And I took on that I am in alignment. So guess what? I was completely in alignment with what I am creating. And synchronicity, magic, and miracles started showing up. I had a lot more confidence that day. I made decisions knowing that whatever price I get to pay, I will. Because I am in alignment. So synchronicity comes in to confirm to me that I am in alignment, which I already am in because that's the only way synchronicity could happen. But now I have something to tell my mind I'm on the right track. So my mind gets out of the way and I can keep moving forward. Are you with me? Are you with me? Does it make sense? Yeah. Is it landing for you? Yeah. And that's how we're creating our new earth. It's not about some well laid out plan that's going to work 5 years from now. We can envision, we use our vision for what it is that we want. But I'm telling you right now, if you have a vision and you think what you want is what you're going to create, you are just scratching the surface. You are maybe 10% of what's possible for you 5 years from now because of where the energy is, because of what's going to happen along the way. It won't be all roses, I promise you that, because you raised your hand, and I love saying this, you raised your soul hand, S-O-U-L, to be alive and awake and conscious and in this work at this time for planet Earth. And you probably know it's not going to get any easier for humanity over the period of time. It's going to get tougher for us. Why? Because we're purging all of the ways we have been out of alignment, not listening to who we are, not being who we came here to be. And the only way for us to powerfully get through it and create what we truly want is to be who we came here to be that, let that be the only deciding factor in what you choose. So instead of choosing out of fear, attachment, scarcity, out of wanting to be loved, safe, which is all false anyway, you are love. So you are loved, and there is no safety. The only safety that exists is in you knowing who you are and being connected to your center. You knowing that no matter what happens tomorrow, you are a sovereign creator and you can shift your circumstances just by shifting in your alignment, following your intuition, using synchronicity as a confirmation so you can keep staying in alignment and moving forward, focused on where it is that you truly desire. There is no strategy for humanity right now. And people love to say this, I listen to so many different sources of what's going to happen. And I think many of us have different visions for where humanity is going. But most of us, especially in this work, are in alignment that we want something different than humanity has ever been before. Human luminous, right? More light, allowing more light to come through our physical body so we can be carriers of more light. But the only way we can do that is to truly start believing that you are unique. You were born to be a certain way nobody else can be right now. So the energy that's flowing through you that takes on the shape of who you are is going to come through onto the other side in some particular way that nobody else but you can bring into the world right now. That's going to require you trusting yourself, your intuition, aligning with synchronistic events, letting go of everything else. Letting go of everything else. One of the ways that I love to play, and this happened to me several times in my life, what if everything goes away? And I actually had it happen. Everything literally went away. 3 times in my life. 3 times. Everything went away. And I'm sure you have your own story where like everything just somehow disappeared. And the first 2 times, I didn't know what to do with myself. The first time I drank my way out of it. Just so you know, I'm not an angel. I drank my way out of it. Until my body said, all right, enough, girl. Something's got to change. Second time, I didn't drink. I did other things to completely get my body out of the experience because the pain of everything falling away was just so unbearable. And a third time I decided I'm just going to face myself. If I created, because I started to buy into, I'm the creator. I started to buy into it. I didn't believe it yet. I started to buy into it. I'm like, all right, let me give it a try, right? If I am a sovereign creator of my reality, that means I created all of it. That means I can create something else. And that means that the circumstances that I am placed in are also a result of something that I was being maybe yesterday, maybe 5 years ago, maybe a week ago, doesn't matter. That means that if right now I start creating something different, aligning myself with my highest soul expression, who I came here to be, right? And again, I love to use blueprints through the tools that I mentioned several times because they confirm things that my mind didn't want to buy into. My mind wasn't conditioned to believe that I am really that expression. My mind wanted to buy into the box I was put into as a child by society, by well-meaning parents, by loving environment. I had a pretty good childhood. I mean, I grew up in a communist country and we had the state of war when I was 6 years old. But other than that, I had a pretty good childhood, right? Yet I was still experiencing something that had limited who I am, right? So I decided I'm going to face all of it, and I still am. Just this morning, I uncovered a chunk of a story that was living deep in my subconscious that kept creating a pattern that I've been wanting to shed since I was 27 years old. So I'll tell you right now, 20 years, because I'm about to be 47. For 20 years, I lived with a certain pattern. And I finally discovered a chunk of it. And the way that I was able to get to is by constantly being in alignment with who I am, those parts about me that I've acknowledged finally that this is who I am. This is who I am. And all the ways that up until now I have been being that didn't serve me. With honesty, knowing that there will be consequences to the decision that I make. So, all right, let me take a breath and read a couple of your notes because I really want to see what you have to say. Keep sharing. Everything has fallen apart. Yeah. So how beautiful is that? Everything has fallen apart. Apartment, money, job, location. I say congratulations because that's where we are right now. And it's painful and I have compassion for that. But guess what? There is, and I know people have said this, I'm not going to say the name out loud because I didn't get your permission, but the person who put that note in a chat, that's exactly where we are right now as humanity. Either, I heard this yesterday so strongly, either you let it go or it's going to leave you. Either you let it go or it's going to leave you. I would rather let it go, right? So I have compassion, and I still remember what it felt like when I didn't know what to grasp onto. It's okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, because there is something, there is a fresh, tender soil to plant seeds in and to watch them rise up. Beautiful. Feels so powerful all of a sudden. Yeah. Carry a lot of energy of power. That's why. Synchronicity equals grace. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Synchronicity equals grace. Yep. And there are so many definitions of grace. Keeping ourselves safe equals being stuck. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Things are landing, moving so fast, too fast. Great times. Yeah. So take a deep breath with me. Close your eyes if you can. If you're driving, don't. And just for a moment, experience this moment. And imagine there is a door to your left. It's an open door. You came through that door before this workshop. And you came into this workshop maybe because you had nothing better to do. I hope not. You wanted to learn something. You wanted to see something. You wanted to experience something that would give you a seed of something new, a possibility, something that you could carry forward and maybe have a new perspective, a new opening, a sense of newness, a sense of something birthing. Whether it's a next version of what already exists, doesn't mean everything has to fall apart. It could be a next version of what you already have. But you came here because you had an intention of discovering something. Find that in your body right now. Find a tiny part of you, even if you don't know what it is, a tiny part of you that's going to step into something new in just a few minutes. Something new could be just the next version of what already is. If you already trust your intuition, what if you suddenly decided you will trust it 10 times more? If you've experienced synchronicity, what if all of a sudden you are willing to see a lot more of it? If you are already aware of your purpose and you know who you are, what if you are willing to shed a layer that's still covering a part of you? But in order to do that, in a moment, I'll invite you to close the door you came through. When you close that door, you will be in a space of not knowing. You will be in a space of no open door, no other possibility but this moment. And in this moment, I'll ask you to be in discomfort of that. So if you choose to, just reach your hand out to your left, pull on that doorknob and close that door. And allow yourself to feel the sensation of whatever comes up. Maybe it's hope. Maybe it's joy. Maybe it's dread, fear, confusion. When we step out of something into something new, sometimes there is this moment you are in right now when we really don't know. And take a deep breath. Exhale, like I just did. And just for a moment longer, feel the discomfort of not knowing. Uncertainty, wobbliness. How do I be something I've never been if I can't build on something I've been up until now? Because that's what I'm asking you to do. When you close that door, you let go of something. And in a moment, I'll ask you to reach out your right hand and find the doorknob to the next door. But before you open it, feel the discomfort of there will be something on this other side that you want, and it will come with something you didn't expect. Maybe you will not want that something. Unintended consequence that up until now in your subconscious has stopped you from choosing something different. It's there in your subconscious always. Unintended consequence. It's that guy that's a foot shorter than you. Perfect, but a foot shorter. All the clients you asked for, and now you have to deal with them. Being facetious. All the money you asked for, but now you don't know how to manage it. The big house you wanted to live in, but now you have to take care of it and you have to pay the taxes and you got to hire somebody to fix stuff in it. Ugh, that's not what I wanted. I just wanted the house. So know that when you open the door, when you turn the knob and open the door, there will be what you want, a possibility of it, that you get to choose it, and it will come with an intended consequence. Knowing that, will you still open the door? And if you choose to open it and trust that you are equipped with everything you need to deal with the unintended consequence, twist the doorknob and open the door. And when you're ready, open your eyes. We open the possibility. We open the possibility of you stepping into something that you haven't been up until now. I am a space of possibility, and I am a space of expansion. So when you are in my space, that's all that's available. So you, good. I'm glad that served. Yeah, good. Wonderful. Now you can step through this door or not. It's always your option. You always have a choice. Just because a door opens, you don't have to step through it. It's our human will, right? So I'm going to take just 2 minutes and I'm going to share very quickly with you what I have coming up if you choose to step through the door. And then I'm going to share with you our closing experience. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad it served you. So on April 25th, I'm going to lead a group of people through an experience called Journey to the Center of You, which is going to be a lot of going into your blueprint, seeing who you've been up until now that you get to let go of so you can step into who you truly are, so you can create what you truly want. And it all starts with you. And the world that we are creating, remember, is not based on any physical structure, system, or strategy that we had. Oh, I said it again. Yes. Up until now, you got to celebrate little wins, by the way. So it's not based on something that we've already know up until now. It's not something that you can write down and follow the steps of. The world we are creating is absolutely based on your soul's expression, who you are, and being willing to trust yourself, trust your intuition, knowing that you can handle the unintended circumstances, following the synchronicities, and creating what it is you are here truly for at the soul level. No matter what happens in the outside world, what the economy does, how much the world spreads, the war spreads from the Eastern Europe, because it's going to affect us big time. It's already affecting us, whether it stays in that physical space or not, it's going to affect us. None of it matters. If you are truly connected to who you are, trusting yourself, your intuition, and moving forward. I don't have a sales page. All I have is a PDF that I'll share with you. If you drop in the email address in the chat, my assistant Mikey will collect it and will send you a PDF with information. We're starting April 25th. It's an 8-week journey. It's a select group of souls that are going to be on this journey with me. And so I'm going to say, if you want to know more, drop an email in a chat or reply to the emails that you've gotten about this workshop, and we'll send you more information. So, how are you feeling? Good? Are you feeling a sense of possibility? Yeah. It's going to take something to step through that door. And whether you step through the door that I'm opening for you or you step through another door, we are in a place of choice for humanity. We have been and we will be. The thing that's happening, though, is the chasm is getting a lot wider and wider and wider. The separation between the people who are holding on to the old and choosing the new is getting wider and wider and wider. And this is not to threaten us or make us feel, bring any more fear into the space, because there's plenty of it already. We're being pumped with fear. This is really to bring urgency into our choices and how we move forward. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. We never truly do, but especially right now, we don't. Up until now, like I said, for the several generations, and especially our parents and us, depending on your age, right? Since World War II, really, there's been a certain consistency, especially in developed countries. We had certain ways of operating that we could rely on, which all is changing. I'm reading an amazing book right now about rules about no rules, and how companies are being built based on a whole new structure, a whole new way of looking at things, and how people are stepping forward with innovative ideas to bring in new ways of creating results in the world, tangible results, because we came here not to be some dust, even though many of us would love to turn into fairy dust and just float around without any responsibilities. I know that's me every day. I'm like, can I just be my little floaty cloud and have it all be, nice and easy? But that's not what you chose to be here for. You are in a physical form at this time on the most dense planet that we know of right now that has life on it. I love listening to Dolores. What's her name? Dolores Cannon. And I read her books. I listened to her because she's talked about this time for a long period of time. And she talks about this planet Earth being one of the hardest experiences a soul could ever choose, but also how souls line up to have this experience because we can experience the most growth on it. So on one hand, it's like, have I chosen to be a fairy dust on some, beautiful, sparkly planet? But no, I chose this human form, whether I like it or not. And I'm dealing with all this stuff that's happening right now. Why couldn't have I been born like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? But I wasn't. Well, I was, but you know what I mean. Why am I on the planet Earth right now? And I'm telling you, you've chosen it, whether you like it or not. And I attract a lot of people who actually, they're in hand analysis language, they're in School of Peace. There are several different schools. School of Peace, people are here to be embodied, and most of them don't want to be here. They don't want to physically be here. And what they mostly remember is not wanting to be here. And what I teach and bring them back into is you chose it. You chose it. You have an option, and some people are taking that option, but you chose to be alive right now for some very important reason. And that is to be your highest soul expression in this dense form. Dense, right? Physical, you can touch. So you are here for a reason. There is a purpose, and the purpose is who you be. And the way to the next level of your experience, of your highest soul expression, is to sink into who you are, learn all the ways that you have stopped yourself from that, so you don't repeat over and over. So just so you don't repeat it. When I learned my lesson meaning what my soul came to learn, the challenge that I came here to grow through, it made all the obstacles a lot more palpable. And now I invite them. So intuition and synchronicity being the feminine tools that we get to sink into right now. And a feminine is it's such a big word. I actually don't use it in my work all that much. I play with it. I am apparently, when you look through human design and gene keys, I have some of the most feminine expression indicators, right? Gates and keys. And I still question, what does it mean to be in feminine, right? What does it mean? Does it mean to wear flowy clothes and flow through and have long hair? Well, it's clearly not. It's a way of being. It's a way of being. And intuition and synchronicity, to me, are the most accessible ways to sink into that way of being that is an access to how we are creating the new earth. So, this was a lot that I packed in 1 hour. A lot. I felt it. Great. Thumbs up. Served. Did it serve you? Yeah. Awesome. Great. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to be, thank you for the heart too. I appreciate that. So good. So this is what we're going to do right now. We're going to pause the recording just for a minute because I want to have a break. We are going to be sharing this replay. We're not going to be sharing Q&A. I'm going to open just for like 5-10 minutes. If you have any questions, you want to share anything, I love interacting that way, but it will not be part of this recording. So if you're watching a replay, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what served you, what opened up for you. And if you want to know more about Journey to the Center of You, just reply to the email that you got this replay in and let us know. We'll send you the information. Thank you for being here. Thank you for who you are. And if you're here in the Zoom room, we're going to just stop the recording for a moment.